Hello everyone and welcome to Callsign Charlie Models. This is part 1 of the HK Models 132nd B-17G. And I've already kind of started some of this kit. Off camera I got the cockpit done right here, as you can see. I used the click to detail seats right here, as you can see. It comes with the cushions. I used the Kits World decals for the U.S. Air Corps stencils on the seat pads, because the actual kit right here doesn't have those. So pulled those off of there, and then the instrument, or not the instrument panel, the throttle controls. Those are done by the Quinta Studios 3D printed decals, and they look absolutely amazing. I love these 3D printed decals. They look 100 times better than what the photo etch, the 2D photo etch looks when it's all in, because it actually looks like switches. If you look at it from any angle, you can see the actual depth to the switches and stuff. So did that, used the kit air tanks, because I did order some aftermarket air tanks, but they are way too large for this, so they do not fit into the holders of the in the cockpit area. So I decided to forego or not use those air tanks. I'll find another kit to use them in some other time. But also, the one thing that I'm really proud of so far with this kit is, as you may know from previous videos, I've been working on my wood technique, trying to get that mastered, especially with doing World War I aircraft. The wood technique is absolutely crucial for that. So I think I finally got it mastered right here with this. And all I used was the AK Models, or AK Real Colors Light Stone right here, and then the some light earth, or just earth, Absalom oils for the streaking. I took a Q-tip and a brush and kind of worked it in, and it looks, to me, it looks like actual wood in here. So I'm very happy with that. And then for the anti-slip area, the walk area, I used just some Tamiya NATO black on a sponge after I taped off the wood areas, and then I just blotted that in. It took a couple different coats to get it to look right, but it's looking there. And then I just used a brush or a sponge dipped with some aluminum and dry brushed on the chipping on the leading edges and areas that would be getting chipped, like on the throttle handles right here. So that's the cockpit right now. And then after that, what we need to start doing is the aft bulkhead for the cockpit, which is also the bulkhead for the bomb bay. But I did order it from Cockpit, which is a 3D printed bomb bay, which is much higher in detail than what is provided in the kit. So I'm waiting for that to come in. It should be in the next day or two. So hopefully by the end of this video, I have the bomb bay done. I've already got all the bombs from Edward built up and ready to go. So because I've been at a standstill waiting on this part, I've just been working on some odds and ends on this kit. Like I got the horizontal stabilizers and the elevators all done right here, along with the rudder. I got some other parts done, some other bulkheads I could get done, like the tail section right here. This is all done, glued together, and ready for paint. I made sure that when I put the glue on, I made sure I did a dry fit inside the fuselage, so everything is squared up and actually where it needs to be. And the same thing with this bulkhead right here. These are your steps for the bolter, and it's not, you only have like one point right here that connects to the bulkhead on both of these, but you do have some connection points right here that go into the fuselage. So I made sure that this was all lined up as well, and glued in, and let it set overnight to really cure, so I don't have to worry about it changing shape or anything. Then the other thing I did was I got ready for the front nose section right here. In the actual aircraft, it does have some like canvas or something like that hiding this spot and down here. And all I used for this was I used some tissue. I dipped it in water, got it to shape, cut it as close as possible. It's not perfect, but from what you'll be able to see back here, this is going to be good enough for me at least. So I just used some wet tissue, and then I brushed some Elmer's glue over it, let it dry, and then put on some Mr. Surfacer 500 primer on there to really get that fabric look to it. So I think it's looking pretty good. You can see the ribs right here or the frames right here that's sitting underneath the fabric. And then I also got everything shaved off for the Quinta Studios 3D printed decals for when I start painting this and getting that done. And then on this side we have the instrument panel that's going to be going on again with the 3D printed decals. So there's all of that is done. And then also, like I said, just working on odds and ends, trying to get some small parts done so that way later on in the build don't have to worry about it. And we got the resin wheels from Edward Brazin taken care of, cut off. I do have some cleanup to do with all the dust that got into all the tread, but that's going to be an easy dip that in water, rinse it out, and that will be good to go. But the tread on these and everything and the detail is just much better than what is provided in the kit. The kit does give you a good starting point for the most part. I know there are some inaccuracies with it and such. I'm a rivet counter, but I'm not a bad rivet counter. I'm not going to go in and like do some major surgery just to move, or modification to the kit just to move a little piece back 2 millimeters. Sorry, nobody else would know that was there unless they were an absolute expert of the aircraft with a ruler out at the show, and you. So I'm not going to waste my time doing something like that to move a little bump back 2 millimeters. So, but anyways, the Edward bombs, they do look really nice. I do like them a lot. They do go to bed together really well, really easily. All you have to do is saw off the bomb body and then the tail assembly, and then it slots right into the groove. So there's no issues with that. And we got all those. And I'm thinking I'm going to only load half of the bomb bay up with bombs, so that way you can see the detail that's in the other side of the bomb bay with a mirror that I'm going to put underneath of this when it is all said and done. So that's it for that. And if you're wondering which version I'm going to do, I am going to do Little Miss Mischief. I thought this was a really cool story about how it was crashed on landing, and then the front half of the aircraft was good, but the tail end of the aircraft was badly mangled. So they took an old B-17G that had still the olive drab camo on it, and they just cut it and put it onto the old, or the aluminum one that was crashed. And I just really like the look of this. It's really going to give some options for weathering. I did find a actual picture of this flying during World War II, and this thing, the back end of this is absolutely beat up. The paint is all faded. It looks like a weathering dream. So I'm really looking forward to getting into this when it comes time. So this is going to be a really fun build, and I think it's going to look really cool when it is all done. Then the other thing that I am doing is for the nose section, we have this set from, let me get this out of the way so I can close the box, from SBS Model in conjunction with Red Fox Studio, which is another great manufacturer of 3D printed decals. And the 3D print stuff and everything, this is going to be the front nose section. As you can see right here, we have a lot of very nice detail, including the Norton bomb sight right here. Our guns also look absolutely amazing. They do have some flexible ammo belts in there that's going to go in. It's really going to look good when it's all said and done. And then all the other detail on here. And then it even replaces the complete deck. This is the kit deck that I have to replace and saw off a couple pieces, and you'll be able to see the difference between this piece right here, right? Very little to no detail at all. And then you have this piece, which is the replacement piece right here. And I'm not sure if you can see the bolt detail on there or not, but this just looks a lot better. And then it comes with a paint mask and everything else to really get this, and then all the other sections that go on here and equipment and everything. So it's really going to look really nice when it's all said and done. I know you're not going to be able to see much of it in the B-17G build, but when I build the EO pub as a B-17F and I have that front nose blown open, you are going to be able to see a lot of this detail. So I am using this, for the most part, as a practice base for the nose work on the B-17. Like I said, this is with Red Fox Studios, so they do have the 3D printed decals for some of the control boxes that are up in the nose. So those are going to be, again, a very nice addition to this and really amp up the detail in this nose section of the kit. Alright, so up next tomorrow when I come back, hopefully I get the bomb bay in so I can show that off, and we'll get to start getting to work on that. And then after that's all done, we can start moving on to the radio operator section and all the other interior bits of this this model. It's going to be a really fun build, and really excited, and I hope you guys are excited to follow along as well. And I'll see you in a little bit. Okay. Alright, we're back, and the bomb bay finally came in from Kopecky, K-O-P-E-C-K-Y models, and the parts, they look absolutely amazing. And we're going to go through all these parts, and actually I'm going to do a comparison with them side by side with the actual kit parts so you can see the actual difference that you get in this set. And I will say this is well worth the money just from the looks alone already. So we have this first bulkhead right here. As you can see, the detail on it with the rivets and everything going on, and nice framing also, and the spools right here that you're going to have your walkway tethers on, or railing, I guess you could say. Those are very nicely done on there as well. And then you flip it over to the other side. A lot of it is kind of covered up from the 3D print supports, but again, very nice rivet detail, and there are connection points for some of the electronics that are going to go on here in a second that we're going to actually see. And you can even see some of the electronics wiring right down here printed into it as well. So really looking forward to getting this all painted and weathered. And then we have this other bulkhead right here, again with the nice 3D printed rivets, framing, some canisters right there, and an electronics box right here. And then on the reverse side, this is where all the meat and potatoes come, with all the cabling, wiring, tubing, everything going on right through there. That's going to look really nice when it's all painted and weathered, which I'm going to probably start doing all of this probably tomorrow with that. So comparison with those two bulkheads, we pull out the kit parts real quick, and we have the two kit parts right here. Alright, there's no rivet detail on it. The spools, they look, compared to the actual kit part, let me find it, or compared to the 3D printed part, as you can see, those spools look way oversized. Another bonus to this, the 3D printed parts, is that the doors are molded or printed separately, so you can paint those a lot easier, and also you can have them in the opened or closed position, so that's going to help light get to the rest of the model, the interior parts that are kind of shut off if you have everything sealed up. So as you can see right there, and then here is this side for this one right here. Again, the doors look too tall on the kit part versus the Kopecky models part, and you can see the difference in the detail right there. And I'm hoping that the rivets will show up on that. And then we do the reverse side on here, and you can see almost no detail on that piece, just a couple of parts going on right here. And then you have all the ejector pins on that. And then on this side, you have the same thing, ejector pin marks all over the place. And then again with this one, you have the parts for your electronics. Your radio operator's table is molded in on the kit, but you add it in separate. It's 3D printed, so you can do that with the nice wood grain texture and everything, and it's going to look absolutely amazing when that is all done. So moving on to the catwalk. All right, you can see right here we have some very nice rivet detail on the top of the catwalk right here. Sadly, you're not really going to be able to see that unless somehow you put a dental mirror up into the bomb bay, turned around, and somehow can get your head around that. So it's one of those details that is absolutely amazing detail, but you're not going to be able to see it. And then on the reverse side right here, you can see some of the tubing that's going on here, and then all the other framing detail that would be added on with photo etch from Edward. But this looks actually, I think, better than the Edward stuff because the bolts are actually have some rise to them, some actual 3D instead of the 2D photo etch right there. And you also have some tubing going on right here as well. Alright, up next we have our electronics boxes, our radio boxes right in here, and the detail on them is very, very nice. Sadly, what I'm going to be doing is I do have the Quinta Studio stuff. I'm going to test to see the size comparison on the radio boxes from the Quinta Studio stuff compared to this. If it matches, I'm going to use the Quinta Studio stuff because it just, to me, it looks better with that stuff versus my painting and then mucking it all up right there. So I'm going to test and see the 3D printed stuff to see how it fits before I actually trim everything off and then go about that. So the radios do look very nice. Can't see anything on the back side. The 3D print supports are very thin on the connection, so getting those removed won't really be a huge issue. And then one thing that kind of broke off from the 3D print support was our table. Not much detail to it, but it is a table. You do have, oh, sorry, scratch that. I can just rub that off real quick. And you do have some 3D print lines, but they are very, very fine. And I was thinking, it's like, this is something that we're going to have to kind of get used to. And if you think about it, 3D printing of models hasn't really been out there for that long. It's only been out for what, 8 years maybe tops. And the 3D printed resin like this, we've had the filament prints out for a while, but this the resin prints like this haven't been out for that long. So I was thinking in comparison to, if you look back to when plastic models first came out and how the quality of the plastic was back then versus what it is now, you just see the night and day difference. So with this, we've come a very, very long way in a very short time for the quality of 3D printed stuff. And so just be patient, and I'm sure in another 5-10 years, the 3D print lines won't really be an issue anymore, even though they're really not anymore. These are really, really fine. I don't think after some primer you won't even be able to see them. Alright, up next we have the bomb bay doors that are included in this kit, and on this one you can see the rivets on it. You can see how thin it is as well, because you can kind of see through it as well. And then we flip it over to the other side, we have some nice framing on here, thin framing, some rivets and all that going on. And then to compare that with the kit part, which, I mean, it's not even, honestly, it's not even really close in comparison. So on the kit part you have the rivets, which yes, those are pretty nice, but on the reverse side the framing on it is absolutely, compared to the 3D printed stuff, the kit parts are like atrocious. They're thick, they're littered with ejector pin marks and everything. So definitely, he does sell the bomb bay doors separately. If you don't want to do the whole set, you can get the bomb bay doors separate as well. And then moving on, we have our actuators for our bomb bay doors right here. Not much to those. They do look very nice. Looking forward to getting those painted up and added to the model at the very end. And then we have some more electronics tables or racks right here for that. Then we have the doors right here with your door handles printed, actually 3D, so there's nothing behind this door handle, so it actually looks like you can grab onto it and open it, and everything on here. So painting this wood, with the exception of the hinges, I mean, that's going to look really nice. And then having it open so you can get some extra light into your radio operator section as well. Already went through that bomb bay door. Alright, so now we have our bomb racks. Alright, so these are the two short rock racks that go on the outboard sides of the bomb bay, and the detail on them, again with the actual sway braces and stuff for the bombs, those look very nice indeed. And then on the back side, again, we have some gorgeous rivet detail on the back side as well. Yes, those are a little bit scratched up, but this is not from Cockpit. The box that I got from FedEx was absolutely beat up, and if I had broken parts in here, I was going to call FedEx and complain about the condition of the box. But luckily, the packing that Cockpit did was very nice and actually helped protect this model through somebody. It looked like they were playing football overseas. They were playing the rest of the world version of football, and in the US it looked like they were trying to pass it long for the American style of football as well. Alright, and then our long bomb racks right here. Again, same level of detail, just a little bit taller on these. But you can see the difference in those right there compared to the kit bomb racks, which are right here. Again, with the ejector pin marks, you do have all the holes for your connecting the bombs. But yeah, so just the comparison between the two, as you can see, is not even really comparable, honestly, in my opinion. On the reverse side, you have that right there, which is a bunch of nothing. And on the reverse side of these, you have a bunch of rivet detail and such on there. Alright, and then for the main shell of the bomb bay, you can see all the detail, the framing, the cable work that's going on in here, some control boxes and such. You're going to be adding a lot of detail on here with the bomb racks, the catwalk that goes in between of here, but this is going to look absolutely amazing when it's all done. Definitely going to be putting a mirror underneath of the B-17 when it is all done, and I am also going to I'm only going to load one side of bombs on this kit, so you'll be able to see one side loaded and one side unloaded on this, so you can see the detail on here, which is absolutely amazing. Really impressed. I'm really happy I got this kit because the detail on this is just outstanding. Alright, so that's where we are with the bomb bay. Starting tomorrow, I'm going to start getting everything cleaned off of the supports and doing all that. There is one thing that I'm kind of questioning on this kit right here. On here, it doesn't show where to connect the wing supports. Now, on the HK Models B-17 kit, on the bulkheads that you have in here, they have some giant holes. Let me pull this out. They have some giant connection points right here and here and here for your wing supports, which are right here, which they are a very tight fit on the wings, which makes getting them on and off really nice. They are a nice firm snug fit, so you don't really have to worry about them falling off or anything like that. But I am kind of wondering how this goes into this, because it is not on the instructions right now. I will have to fiddle around with it and see how it works on that. So that will be part of this this B-17 video. This will probably be part 2 or 3 is when we get to this point, but that's where we're standing. So I'll be back in 1 second once I have everything cleaned off of the supports and we start painting everything. So I'll see you in 1 second. Alright, we're back and we got a lot of prep work done with the B-17. Basically almost all of the interior stuff for this kit is ready for paint and primer and all that. So next thing I have to do prior to doing all the painting and everything for the interior is I want to work on the waist guns. Now I have the Edward gun set right here, the resin gun set, which, I mean, the bodies do look very nice. The barrels, they're a little bit lacking. Are they better than what is provided in the kit? Yes, but we're going to do a little bit of modification to these to really send them up to the next level. And that is with the Master Models metal barrels right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to cut the barrel off of the Edward gun. And then we're going to do some modifications. And we are going to get the metal barrels in, which are nice and drilled out tubes, so they're actually going to look really nice versus the Edward ones. The cooling jackets are there, but they're so the detail on them, and then the barrels are not drilled out on that. So I'm going to go ahead, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this barrel off right here at the connection point right there. And then so cutting it off, we got a little bit of a not a divot, but a little curvature to it. So I want to make sure that's as flat as can be before I start drilling it, so the drill bit won't slip off one side or the other. So I'm just knocking down light sand right here, and then I'm going to grab my micro drill bits, and we're going to get a hole somewhere in the middle right here. Looks close enough to the middle. And we're going to get a starter hole. This is a very fine drill bit, so I'm going to be very careful with it because I don't want to snap it. Alright, getting that done. So the starter hole is started, and it is maybe a little bit off center, and we'll work it back into the center here in a second. But so going up with my next size drill bit, and we're going to just start right here. This one looks like it's more centered of the in the body, so just drill in. I'm drilling back a good distance too, so the barrel has some purchase area on it, so it won't snap off easily. So got that good right there. Alright, now we're going to grab the barrels. We're going to do a test to see if I need to go any larger on my drill bits once I can find my knife, my knife. Just cutting a small slit in here because I don't want these being able to fall out all over the place. There's that. Make sure we're on the right side of the barrel. Yeah, we're gonna definitely need to go larger. That's alright, so. Test. Oops, so small. This one should be big enough. Nope, still larger, alright. Still need a lot bigger hole, so we're just going to go up to the mammoth. Alright, so this one's not going to be pretty, but we figured it out on the other one, so hopefully this one is kind of hidden. We'll get the cooling jacket out. Because that barrel is straight. Now I just need to Alright, so first gun is done. This one's not really pretty because it's the first one. The next one will look better, and then after that each one will get better and better. But we still have the charging handles to put onto this, but I'm going to go ahead and get all the barrels done first. Sorry that was off camera. But yeah, I think this does look a lot better than what the kit does, or the Edward stuff. Barrels do at least. So there's that. I'm going to go ahead and get to work on all the others, and I will be right back. Alright, and I'm back, and we got all the interior ready for paint. Got everything primed, as you can see right here, primed, and then I started with the base coat for the woodwork that I'm going to be doing on all the different parts. As you can see right in here, I used the AK, hold on a second. I used the AK Real Colors BSE number 64 Portland stone for my base of the wood. It's the same way I did the wood for the cockpit right up here. So I'm going to be using that, and then after I put a matte coat on all the woodwork, I'm going to be using Abtalung 093 Earth on the oils. I'll probably be doing a video of how I do the woodwork on here next part, which I'll be bringing up here in a second. So got all the ammo cans base coated for the woodwork, and also got the ammo chutes, the feed chutes. I got the brass painted on them, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with some liquid mask off the actual casings right here, and then after that I can paint everything aluminum, which we're going to have a lot of aluminum to spray on this guy, because it is a lot of aluminum all the way through on the back end, on the front end, and also just all around on a lot of the parts and everything. So getting that done, and then also going to be using the quilted interior stuff from Quinta Studios for the radio operator section right here. So this is a 3D printed decal. It's actually got texture. I'll be measuring all of this out and getting that onto the side of the fuselage in the radio operator's compartment. So that's going to be a lot of fun and really going to look good when it's all said and done. I got everything else. I started some more woodwork with the doors on the bulkheads right here. I also got everything primed, so we got that done. I'm waiting for it to dry. I did this one yesterday along with the radio operators section floor right here. Maybe do a little bit more work with this here in a second. See if I can work around the oils a little bit more so it's a little bit less streaky, and get that done. So gonna work on that a little bit more on that. And then we got the table. Like I said, we got everything else primed. I did add to the kit these steps for the gunners, and I do have the Edward guns for this kit, and you can see a nice little addition hopefully right there for the gun, because in the instructions they just have the gun basically hanging there from the ammunition belt, and then it's sticking through the window. So definitely gonna add that in. And from what I can see from the reference photos from for the kit I'm doing, they didn't have the window here in flight or on the ground. I think it was an old version where the window slid out, so I'm definitely going to be leaving the window off of this one so you can actually see inside of this as well. Alright, so starting off with the ammo cans right here. Alright, so we're going to start with the oils on these, getting the wood grain. I'll show you how I do it. This is the way I do it. I've seen other ways of doing it. This is the way that works for me. I'm just going to grab some earth from Abtalung oils. Let me get this pointed the right direction. So ABT 093. I did do a pre-coat with the AK Models Portland stone right here for my base coat. RC041. Then after that RC041 was on, I applied a matte coat to it to protect color. And all I'm going to do here is I'm going to apply the oil paint on it, all rather generously, just all over the place right here. Alright, so the main oil is done on this. I'm not really worried about the underside of this because it's going to be down on the bottom and you're not going to be able to see it. So now I have my brush. It's just a sawtooth brush right here. I'm just going to start wiping off the excess right here, going in, and it's kind of working the oil into the paint too. Because you'll see the next step here in a second, we'll be wiping off all the excess and you'll get a nice little wood grain on here. Alright, so now we'll take a Q-tip and we'll just adding a light wood grain to it. Alright, that's the first ammo can done with the wood grain. Pretty happy with it. Now we get to do 3 or 2 more of these right now. And yeah, set that one off to the side. And we're just going to rinse and repeat on all these. I'm going to get a glove on first so I don't. Yeah, so this is the ammo can for the waist gunner, and as you can see on the bottom will be visible, so we need to do all the sides of this. So I'm just going to repeat all this. We'll speed through this and I will talk to you once this is all done. Alright, so all the woodwork is done. I'm going to let that set and dry for a couple days. And then after that is done, I'm going to go apply a matte coat over the woodwork to really seal that in. So that way when I'm masking off the parts like right here, that's going to be the interior green. And then there's also like the hinges on the doors and the bulkheads around the doors and everything. I want to get that masked off so I can paint all that. So all the woodwork is done. Now what we get to do is we'll probably start painting all the guns and such and the bombs. The guns, I got the 2 waist guns, the aft guns, and the aft turret guns, the tail guns, and the top gun, the Stinger, I guess would it be called, all done and ready to paint. So I'll get those painted with gunmetal first, and then we'll do some highlight painting on it with the wood on the charge handle right here, and then some aluminum on the frames right here on that. Now also got the ammo belts ready to go. I painted the ammunition brass and then masked it off with some liquid mask, and then we'll come back in with the aluminum and paint that here when we're doing the rest of the aircraft in the aluminum. There's going to be a lot of aluminum on this build, a lot. So that's where we're standing. I'll be back in 1 second once all the guns are painted and done, and I'll be back in 1 second. Alright, so we're back with the B-17G, and the instructions, the color callouts for the instructions says that the aft section of the and bomb bay of the B-17 should all be in the medium green, right? So at first I painted the cockpit section and the radio operator section the medium green, and then the aft section was all aluminum along with the bomb bay. Then I started diving into my research or reference, and on Google, first I used Google, which as you know can always be a mistake because you can't really determine what is what. And then I have this book, The Legends of Warfare, B-17 Flying Fortress Volume 2. Volume 1 covers the B-17, the early B-17s all the way up to the B-17F. And then Volume 2 covers B-17E all the way through the B-17H. So on here in Chapter 5, right, so we'll go forward to here. The B-17G going through, did the reference and everything. Let me find it real quick. But it looked like, from what I could find, everything, even the bomb bay, is in the medium green on here as well. So I had to go back and paint everything with the medium green. Now what I might do is I might use some interior green to kind of mix it up a little bit along with the chipping and everything, but that's where we're at right now. So we got the interior all painted up. I'm going to put some clear coat on it, and then we're going to I'm going to chip it all up first and then put some clear coat on it, and then we can start weathering that. And then we have this front or top section done, which we need to do some more detail painting on that. Had to do scratch building for the Quinta Studios 3D printed stuff because we're going to have an extra control panel right here. Then we got the bulkheads painted right here. Again, a lot more detail painting to go onto this as we go. And the woodwork on all the floors and the ammo boxes are almost all the way dry. They're almost dry to the touch. I'm only getting a little bit of residue on my hands, my fingers, when I rub my finger across it. I'm not really too worried about messing anything up right now. But after this is all dry, probably tomorrow, I'm going to put a matte coat over it to really seal it in, and then I can paint all the, like the sidewall of these boxes right here. Then also the anti-slip section that goes down the middle right there. So that's where we're standing. Also, you got your bomb bay shell right here. That's all painted up and ready to go. Just, well, the base coat is done. Need to do all the detail painting on this. And like I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have one half of it loaded with all the bombs, and then the other half empty, so you can see this detail, like the cabling detail and all that going on in here. Because otherwise, if I was to load it up with bombs, you would only be able to see to about there. So you might see the bottom of this box, and that would be the extent of it. So that's where we're staying with that. And then we also got some parts ready for clear coat. We got the bombs all painted up, ready to go right here using the MRP olive drab. And before I painted it, so I was going to paint the stripes because I hate painting or doing decal stripes. But looking at where the stripes were going to be, it looked like that was going to be a nightmare of a masking job. So I went ahead and I'm just going to use the decals for it. So we got all that painted up. We got the ammo belts painted right here. Zoom in a little bit more so you can see. Alright, so first used the brass for the bullets, and then I used my liquid latex mask for the bullets, and then after that dried, it came in with my aluminum and painted that all up. I'm not worried about this bottom side right here because you're not going to be able to see it. And then we also have the guns all painted with the gunmetal, and then also aluminum for the railings right here. And then I used some Tamiya red brown for the handles and the charge handle right there. I'm hoping that the camera will pick that up. So this one is all done on that. The other thing that I need to do, I need to look into, is on the aft guns, if I can find one of them. Alright, so on the aft gun, some of the chin turret and the aft turret, some of them had these flash suppressors right here on them, and others didn't. So I'm going to do some research and see if I can find out if the little Miss Mischief B-17 did have these flash suppressors on, because if not, I can just break them off. And honestly, I might break them off anyways because they are not straight, and then just repaint. So you saw how easy that just broke off. So I just need to repaint the tip of this. But yeah, so that's where that's standing right now. All the guns, like I said, tomorrow I'm gonna put the matte coat down on all the woodwork. So the gun, oh man, getting fingerprints on this. Hold on. Had a little bit of a thick spot, and it hasn't dried all the way. So there we go. I guess I forgot to wipe that part off when I was doing it. But alright, so once the ammo boxes are all done and dried up, we can clear coat that, and then these will be done once that's done. We also have the doors to do as well, but we also have some detail painting to do on these hinges and also the door handles right here. So again, a lot more to do on this. I am going to do, for part one, what we're going to do is we're going to finish up all the interior for the main fuselage. We're going to get that all done, and then I'm hoping that once I get the fuselage halves together, that's going to be the end of part one. So still a lot of work to do with the weathering, some detail painting and all that going on, and then we get to get everything together, which is going to be a little bit of an experiment, because I've also started to see if I need to do some sanding on this to make sure that we get the pieces to slot the wings in for the sturdy fit, because these do help with the fit of the wings and the sturdiness of the wings a lot. So we're definitely going to have to do some modifications to get these to work with the Bombay and the Aftermarket bulkheads. Alright, so that's it for now, and I will be back in 1 second once I have some more work to show you. So I'll see you in a bit. Alright, we're back with an update of the B-17. So, got all the interior stuff done, painted, decaled, and started the assembly of the sub-assembly areas. And now this is the Cockpit bomb bay for the B-17, and the detail on this is absolutely top notch. As you can see right here, just compared to what is provided in the kit, this is light years better than what is provided. So I decided I'm only going to add a few bombs to the racks, just so you can see all that detail, because if I was to fully load everything up, you wouldn't be able to see any of the cabling or anything that goes on in here. So that is all done. We got the pilot, the bulkhead for the cockpit right here. That's all done. Basically, it comes with separate doors. You can have the doors opened or closed. I decided to close them up just so I don't have anything, when I'm trying to get everything assembled, I don't have any parts that are knockoff hazards. So got that done. And then on the radio operator section, that's all done. All these boxes and shelves are separate right here. I used the Quinta Studios radio face for this one. So happy with it. The shade of black is a lot different than the one that I painted it, but we'll just have to make do with that one. Luckily, you won't really be able to see much of this when the aircraft is all closed up. I am going to be closing up the top. I'm not going to leave it so it can be taken on and off. Now, when I do the ye old pub with all the battle damage and everything, definitely going to have to take some concentration. I'll probably do all the brush painting on this because the actual part from Cockpit is very nice as well. So, but yeah, so that's it for the bomb bay. Like I said, it's really fun to paint and everything in there. So that's done, and then the other sub-assemblies that we have done, the cockpit area, I've shown this earlier. Now it has the instrument panel on, using the Quinta Studios interior decals for that. I do say that I was using the UV resin right here to glue everything on. Not really a good thing because it would dry in some areas but not dry in others, and it would start peeling up. There's a couple bubbles in it. Luckily, you won't really be able to, can't really tell on there. So from now on, I think I'm just going to be using the ultra glue or super glue, depending. I tried the UV resin. It works for some things, like these top pieces up here worked very well, but for the large flat pieces, didn't work so well. The other thing I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to trim down some of these oxygen bottles back here because it does not fit on the bulkhead of the bomb bay. Do have some fit issues with that. So it's a pretty simple fix. I just need to shave down these back two air bottles just on the very tip of it. Take about maybe a millimeter or two off, and that should be able to fit. And then also the tabs on the back here don't really fit into the two grooves that are provided in that. So now that we're getting ready to put everything into the fuselage parts, I'm gonna have to start getting creative because we're not gonna be able to do it like how the actual kit is, where you have the whole interior sub-assembly done and then it all just slots right into the fuselage. So what I'm thinking I'm going to have to do is I'm going to glue the bomb bay into the fuselage first, and then we're going to start working front and back from that, getting the cockpit in, and then the radio operator section, all that done. So I did start on getting some of the parts for the interior on. The ammo cans are on. I'm going to wait to get the ammo belts on until after I have all these other pieces on, so that way I don't have to worry about flipping it around and knocking it off or anything like that. The other thing is, I was planning on using the Quinta Studios 3D printed quilted material on the radio operator section. I fought it and fought it and fought it and could not get it to work. So I'm not going to waste the stuff on this one because you're not going to be able to really see it. I'm going to save that for when I do the EO pub, and because you will, with the battle damage and the giant hole that's in the top of the aircraft, you will actually be able to see into here very well. But that's a build that's maybe next year, maybe this year, we'll have to see. But that's where we're standing with that. And then the cockpit slides right into here like so. Pretty good fit. Just a quick drop in right there. And then we're gonna have the bomb bay and stuff right in here. The bomb bay actually does fit very nicely as well. Let me grab that real quick. So bomb bay just slots right in. I had to remove a couple of the locator tabs for the kit parts, but other than that, I mean, it's almost a, once I get it lined up, it'll be much better. But yeah, so I mean, I had it test fit earlier today when I was taking my time and not on camera, and it was, like I said, almost a perfect fit. Just a couple little areas that I need to clean up on, but it shouldn't be that bad right there. As you can see, that's how it's going to look when it's inside. And when I'm going to try to flip this over and not break anything, but as you can see right there, perfect fit. And it does come with bomb bay doors and such that are a billion times better than what is provided in the kit. So I'm going to let the bomb bay dry overnight, and also vent off all the super glue fumes, so that way when I do put on clear parts, I'm not going to be getting any fogging or anything like that done. So I will be back once we start getting everything assembled into this. I'll probably film while I'm doing my troubleshooting with getting everything done. So here in a little bit, this fuselage is going to be together, and it's going to start looking like a B-17, because after that we got to start working on the nose section, which is another monster of a upgrade set. Other than that, that's all I got. Like I said, I'm going to let this dry overnight, and then we're going to start doing our getting creative on how to get everything in, because we also need to get in our wing supports right here, which are not shown on the instructions for the bomb bay. So we're going to have to, like I said, we're going to get a little creative here in a little bit. So I will see you in just 1 second when we start getting all this done. Alright, back with the final update of the B-17 for part 1 of this build. Finally got the aft fuselage section, I guess you could call it the main fuselage section, done and assembled. This took me quite a while. This took me about a month, a little over a month to get done, just because of work and everything, and then how much is into this piece. But so far, pretty good. The only issue I've really had with this kit so far was I knew this top part was going to be an issue. Getting it to fit, I got it to fit the best I possibly could. Definitely going to need to get some putty. And also I'm going to tape down and glue down a little bit more on some of these areas that just need to be a little bit better fitting on that. The biggest issue I had was with the belly, and I'm trying to be very careful turning this around because of the guns, but this gap all along here, I could not get it to close up. So, and I don't know, the only aftermarket I've used for this kit that would affect the fit would be the bomb bay, and the bomb bay area, as you can see up to here, fits pretty good, but back here where it's all straight out of the kit, nothing but issues on that. And I made sure that everything was lined up before I put it together. So I went in with my UV clear resin to fill it up. I'm gonna need to do some sanding right here, but that should be pretty good on that. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna get this piece fixed a little bit better on that, and then coming up for part 2, we're going to start working on the nose section. And for the nose section here, we have a lot to do with this SBS/Red Fox nose kit right here. All 3D printed parts. I'm going to go more into depth on this on part 2, but I mean, we just have a ton of detail to add into this, in which, for the most part, from what I can see, you can actually see the interior pretty well with this, with the help of a flashlight, of course. But I'm really looking forward to getting into this part up next. So that's it for part 1. I want to thank everybody for sticking around and watching. I look forward to getting into part 2 with this nose section, getting that done. And then after that, sorry, knocked over my flashlight. After the nose section is done, we'll start moving on to the turret. So the upper turret and ball turret, getting that done. And then we start on with the wings, which we have a lot of work to do with the wings, with the Edward photo etch flap set and also the Edward engine set to do on those as well. So this one's going to be a long one, but we're going to get it done. But anyways, thank you for watching and sticking around, and I hope to see you in part 2 when we start knocking this beauty out. And if you haven't yet, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell button for notifications of when I post future videos. And until next time, I hope you guys have a great day. You stay frosty and happy modeling.